Jake, can you hear me? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if I've done everything correctly, you should hear me. You should also hear Jake. Let's see, though.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. My goodness gracious. Let me share the screen a little bit, Jaco. Happy Friday, everybody.
How's it going?
Sincere Tony's got the right idea.
That is good.
What you got?
I've started drinking kombucha, dude. And
Oh,
this
nice.
is a apple, and it is it's just delicious. Apparently it's good for my gut. Who the hell knows?
Kombucha's good for your gut bacteria.
Yeah.
Your
That's
gut,
what they say.
your gut is a biome.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Did you know that your gut is a biome?
That's what they say. No, I didn't know it's a biome. That's the first time hearing that today.
Your gut is a biome.
Yeah, I mean that's what they say. That's what I've heard.
Welcome back to Jake and Joel's gut biome.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies
How
and
is
gentlemen,
everybody today?
yeah, I was just about to ask the same question. I've been on vacation all week. We got back late last night. Went and saw Shang-Chi last night. That was pretty cool.
What is that?
Shang-Chi is the new Marvel Studios action film. Shang-Chi and the
okay.
Legend of the Ten Rings.
So this is some Marvel movie that got absolutely zero like press coverage, right? Because this is honestly like the first time I've heard about it.
What forms of media are you engaging with that you would see advertisements?
Well, I would expect to have seen it at least pop up in like a YouTube recommended at minimum or something, or at least hear about it from, I don't know, maybe one of the Marvel fanatics that I'm in a text chain with. I don't think anybody brought it up.
I was talking about it last night.
Oh, you brought it up last night. You brought it up last night. Okay, so I mean, is there nothing to be said about, like, I heard about it last night?
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to text Kevin right now. Mr. Feige needed to do a little more work.
I mean, I feel like I hear about the new Marvel thing the second it could possibly exist.
Right.
And for me, this one, I had no idea. Like, I knew about this one less than I knew about Doctor Strange, and I had no idea what Doctor Strange was. I love that movie. But what'd you think of it?
Oh,
Was
the
it good?
first Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange.
I don't know if it's the OG.
That was an interesting one. Shang-Chi was good, man. Shang-Chi was good. Shang-Chi's an origin story. It's a brand new character.
Okay.
And so it's got,
cool.
you know, it's got a little bit of that to it where they've got to do a lot of exposition. You know, they got to tell the story why this dude is an Avenger now.
Sure.
But, you know, they tie
sense.
they gracefully tie it into everything, and there's some cool surprises, and that's all I'll say. As far as origin stories go, I really liked it. You know, I didn't mind the Captain Marvel movie. I actually thought it was fine. This one was better than it. As far as Doctor Strange versus Shang-Chi, I think I liked Doctor Strange more, but they did like some really cool visual risk taking and visual storytelling with that movie that is pretty unique to that whole world, the whole Doctor Strange world. But there was some very cool action in this. The acting is fantastic. The script was solid.
That's good.
Yeah.
Character development good.
Yep. Everything felt earned.
That's key.
There's two little things. I won't get into spoilers, but there are two little things where I was like, well, that was fast, but okay. Yeah. And, you know, it's also a Marvel movie, so you got to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Sure. Is it as good as the beat is in the new Kanye West song Jail?
No, the new Kanye West song Jail, I knew you would like it. I don't know if you've
good.
Have you heard the original or just the remix that I sent you?
I've heard a couple different ones. I like the remix a lot, but I have heard the original, and it's all very good.
I was going to say the original, he really took a chance, and he didn't put the beat of the song in until the end of the song, when the song is just a beat there from then on. It's just very interesting choice. But I've liked the remixes. I've enjoyed listening through Donda. It's definitely not my favorite Kanye album of all time, but I like it better than Jesus is Lord. Or Jesus is King. What was the last one?
I have only heard random tidbits off of each of the albums. I haven't done any like full like listen throughs in a long time.
Yeah, I listened
whenever
through
you
it.
link
It's
me
fine.
the new thing or whatever the hit is off of the album, it is very, very seldom that I'm like not into it. This is a good one.
I know which one to send you. I did lead you astray one time. Do you remember when I sent you Premeditated Murder? I forget what it's called. Last night I thought about killing you.
No, I don't.
You don't remember that?
I remember that one.
I didn't think you would hate that one. I think I'm the only human who liked that song off of that album.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we did not go live today.
Pick in on stream right there.
Get it in, man.
Get it on stream.
We didn't go live today to discuss Shang-Chi and the new Kanye album,
what is
Donda.
going on with these guys?
This is more of a Friday hangout. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday. Got a long weekend coming up.
There are some pretty cool cards coming out of this set. I will say that.
Yeah.
Anything with flashback is going to be very strong. That's always been a very strong mechanic. When you can use a card and then get something back later, that's amazing. And this new mechanic, this
decay,
it is one thing, and then it becomes another thing once you use the alternative costs in the graveyard.
Oh yeah, the unearth, or what is it called?
It is very good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Anything that's going to allow fewer non-games. And how many times have we talked about that over the past year? Ever since the flip lands, the like double-sided dual face modal cards, ever since those happened, Disturb, you're talking about Disturb. Ever since those happened, you know, it's just seemed more and more like we're aiming at a good, quick experience that eliminates non-games as much as possible. And so if you've got, you know, your bait hook, you've got your bait hook angler, you cast it for 2 and it's just a 2/1. But if you disturb it for 2 once it's in the graveyard, you get a 1/2 flyer. That's not bad.
Dude, the value is great. And what it reminds me of is, you know, like Bone Crusher Giant and all the stuff that we got out of Throne of Eldraine as well, all of the adventure cards. Because I think that people are going to see these and value these the same way. Whenever you're able, like seriously, whenever you can get the most out of card, 2 different uses out of a card, it's always worth considering. It's like the rule of even Delve. Like, always look at a new Delve card. We don't have any Delve cards in this set, but I'm just saying there's certain like rules of MTG where it's like, if a card can do one thing at face value and then sit in the graveyard and come back for an additional value, not only is it going to be good and limited, but it is worth considering for constructed play as well. So I'm interested to see which of those cards break out, because I'm sure that some of them will.
Someone somewhere, what's up? Jason, Jace the Troll, Audacity, Tony. I'm seeing everybody hanging out. Hope y'all are doing well. Yeah, Jake, I couldn't agree more. That's why we already love the mechanic flashback. That's why that's such a good, strong, constructed EDH. It's just good across the board. Jake, did you see this card with the cats? Here, hang on.
I did.
All right, I'm gonna swap us over to the other view.
This is strong.
We have got here. There we go. Perfect.
Now, I'm not a good Magic the Gathering player, but the first card that came to mind when I saw this was Rotting Regisaur. That was just like baseline where my brain went right out the gate without any other considerations. And then it has that flashback cost as well, which is, again, great if you're getting the most out of like a graveyard strategy. So it almost reminds me of like a Mardu, like you could build like a Mardu kind of thing into this, because you do want stuff to be in the yard in order to get the most out of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty cool card.
First thing I think of is a Lurrus deck, because that's basically what you're building already, is return creature cards with low CMCs. And so then if you've got your companion Lurrus, you can also put one or two in the main deck and be able to return those for 2 mana. And then also probably that turn cast a 1 CMC creature with the Lurrus ability. So it's, I mean, it's pretty excellent, honestly.
Oh yeah. I'm a fan of it. I think the art is great. I love the cats. I love cats.
Yeah, it's a crazy art. Oh, these freaking cats, man. Chewing on the meat. Griff, what's up?
The foul play is pretty sweet too, even though it's sorcery speed. The fact that it's going to leave a clue and it kind of cantrips in a way is good.
Yeah.
It's worth considering as well.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is target creature, which is good.
Thermo Alchemist back in standard.
Is cool too.
What does this one do? Pay 1, tap it, pay 1 life. Discard a card, jeez. Draw a card, then mill a card. Put a ritual counter on it. Then if it has 3 or more ritual counters on it, transform it. And it transforms into a flying 4/4. Pay 3, exile target creature card from a graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on him. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. You play it for 2 as an artifact. And then you got to do the ritual 3 times. Pay 1, tap it, which you can do immediately. You can do it there EOT right after you've cast this. You can pay 1, tap it.
I do like that it's a ritual card, literally.
Yeah. Pay a life, discard a card. You do get to draw a card. I mean, so filter is good. Honestly, this seems like a control type card, man, because you're molding your hand. You're getting rid of the cards that you know you're not going to need.
Yeah.
You're drawing,
and if you have flashback, anything that needs to be in the yard, you can just, that's a good way to fuel that. It's velocity. You know, you're going to find your answers with this. This gets you through your deck, and then later on, once you've used the utility, it turns into a threat that your opponent needs to answer.
This seems, I know we always review everything through EDH, and then your meme is that you're like, well, it's good and limited. But this card seems really good and limited, because you're pitching pitching what you don't need. You're getting through your deck to your best cards. And then eventually, once you've gotten help digging down to your best threats, it itself turns into a threat and gives you the possibility of removing flashback creatures.
Yeah.
If that's a thing. Or what would they be called? Disturb. It would be a disturb creature, right? Because disturb is flashback for creatures, essentially.
And I'm interested to see if they print a card that lets you get a card back from exile that has disturb, kind of like they did with the Mystic Retrieval, I think was the name of that card back Innistrad.
Yeah,
or it
they
might have
love
been
they
even
love doing
Dark
that.
Ascension.
You know, they play
Yeah.
the greatest hits every time they print a new mechanic, and they print cards like that. So I'm sure at some point we'll see it. It's kind
Everybody
of
thanks for
cool.
hanging out.
We
I see
never
a lot
get
of the
this
usual
anymore.
suspect.
Dude, we get
Yeah.
2 sets in a row in the same plane. And it has been so like ping pong
that's kinda
ball
cool.
ever since they stopped doing blocks. I know we were in Ravnica for 2 sets, then War, so that was 3. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of nice to breathe and let a set exist.
I think so too.
I would have loved to have seen more out of Ikoria, because there was a whole, I know you don't care about story, but there's a whole like plot of the animals attacking and the human cities trying to defend themselves, and you know, sort of a Romeo and Juliet thing in between it. Anyway, let's look at Curse of Leeches. Enchantment Curse. Enchant players. This card transforms into Curse of Leeches. Hey, hang on. Oh, it transforms back. Oh, I see. Okay. As this card transforms into Curse of Leeches, you attach it to a player. So then, at the beginning of enchanted players' upkeep, they lose a life and you gain a life. So you've got Aristocrat Curse that transforms if a player casts no spells during their own turn into a lifelinking 4/4 horror.
That is some interesting shit.
So I'm assuming you're in control of it the whole time, right? With the curse, because the curse sits on you. It's just attached to a player. You still control it. At the beginning of enchanted players' upkeep, they're aristocrat, and you gain 1, they lose 1. And then it transforms into a 4/4 lifelinker. And then if a player casts at least 2 spells, it becomes day.
That looks like my ex. Oh my god.
It becomes day. It becomes day. This is a very interesting one. 3 mana for a 4/4 lifelinker.
Yeah.
That just slowly ticks them down. This daybound nightbound thing, Jake, it's very hard for me to like.
It is if you don't want it to transform, it does kind of make you play cards so that the daybound trigger doesn't happen, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm still with this daybound nightbound thing. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it and do like test playing in my head to see how it's going to operate. But yeah, I think it could be cool.
Yeah.
Power and toughness equal to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. At the beginning of your end step, create a green ooze creature token with this creature's power is equal to the number. Oh, geez. So it's a Tarmogoyf that creates Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah. It's pretty spicy. It's a little expensive, but I know that EDH will love it.
The madmen, they did it. This is a short, Jake. I'm going to turn this into a short. Tarmogoyf.
This is silly.
Tarmogoyf that makes Tarmogoyfs. That's a funny one.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know if I like it that much just because it's so expensive. And the reason that Tarmogoyf is so good is because it comes online super early, right?
Right.
And it's really good late game for a super cheap cost. But even Tarmogoyf in EDH is, you know, small bananas. So this card, the fact that it goes wide and creates more of it is worth considering.
It's a silly one.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, baby. I saw this one today on Twitter. We haven't talked about it yet, but instant speed, green and a white. Whenever a creature enchantment enters battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card. Now that's a creature. That's not non-token creature. So you figure out how to make three to 5 tokens in one turn with what you got going. Pay 2 mana, draw that many cards. Plus it flashes back.
Yeah, you know what comes to mind is like Lingering Souls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
There's something here, or you could just play this in like a go wide kind of like even like an elves kind of strategy or something similar, but aggro, a lot of like low to the ground. You could play this in, I mean, honestly, Enchantress, and it's going to be a big deal just because everything in that is cheap mana. So you could just pretty much draw your whole deck with the right pull.
So let's think about the ceiling and the floor of this. Let's start with the floor. Rite of Harmony is 2 mana, so draw spell would be 2 cards for 3 mana, right? That's divination. This one tacks on instant speed and is 1 mana less, so you've got 2. Whenever a creature enchant... Oh man, could you combine this with Rise of the Dreadmarn?
I just think that it's probably like
go junk and go Rise of the Dreadmarn,
dude. I think it's just like a 1 of.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's a 4 of by any means. I do like that it's low to the ground, but I mean, you're gonna have to get 2 more creatures out onto the battlefield, or enchantments out onto the battlefield after you cast this to get a divination's value out of it.
Yeah, that's why with stuff like Sanctum Weaver and all these mana dorks that add mana based on the number of enchantments you control, I think you're able to really go nuts with this, especially when you start to go wide in those kind of builds. Because, and this is talking about modern specifically, I think you could find some utility for it there. I do think that in EDH it's a big deal because it has flashback, and if you put it in something in like an enchantment matters kind of thing, you could play this and then play a couple enchantments, draw some cards, and then later on flash it back if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in. So I do think that there's something there.
Return all enchantments from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Resurgent Belief. Thank you for that, Timbo. I also saw Johan said Isochron Scepter. That's a this would be a silly one to put on Isochron Scepter. Just absolutely drawing cards like nuts. Anyway, Rite of Harmony, pretty cool.
That's a good one. It's kind of cool. I like it.
Here's another curse. I like that we're getting more curses here.
I saw this one. This is okay.
Whenever the enchanted player casts a spell other than the first spell they cast each turn, casts a spell other than the first spell they cast each turn, or copies a spell, Curse of Shaken Faith deals 2 damage to them. Yeah, dude, this is sideboard tech. If a Storm deck ever pops up as the best deck in the format, Curse of Shaken Faith says, don't think so.
That's a good point, but yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't even know if I want it in EDH. It seems kind of like Small Bananas. I don't know if Small Bananas is
I think it's cheap enough, dude. I think it's cheap enough in that we're getting to the point with red where there's enough impulse draw that this would be another nice little piece. Like this to me looks like maybe it would go in your Karavik deck if you sort of like leaned your Karavik deck more into Furnace of Wrath type strategy where, you know, all of damage dealt all damage dealt is increased. What's that called? Furnace. Joel has to spell correctly. If a source would deal damage to a permanent, deals double that. And then also, you know, combine it with any sort of thing that is doing automatic damage to them, like your Havoc Festival.
Yeah. So I mean, it is cheap. Cheap is good, but it is contingent on they need to cast a spell other than the first spell that they cast in order for it to proc. So yeah, I mean, with enough opponents, you could probably find someone where it's going to matter. Yeah, but I don't know. It would probably be a quick. It would probably be a cut for me, but I would have to see. Yeah,
it's an interesting one because it seems to me, I mean, think about it, man. Turn 3, you know, cast a Bauble, cast Cultivate, cast a Mana Dork. They take 4 damage there.
I mean, that is true. There is a lot of time. Maybe it could be good sideboard in Constructed, and maybe Modern would like it because Bauble is one of those cards and that really is just all over the place, and it does allow for a lot of turns where you're playing multiple spells, and especially with, I don't know how to pronounce this card's name, but Azmoran, the big name,
Azmoran,
the red black. Yeah, you end up casting a ton of spells in that deck as well. So there's probably a little bit of relevance there. I just am very medium on it for Commander.
Yeah. Look at this. Did you see this one yet?
Oh yeah, this one's nuts.
Dude.
This card's amazing.
How do you pronounce this? Gisa? I'm not sure.
I think Jake's potassium level is low. I don't know what you mean, but maybe
you need a banana, dude. Gisa, I don't know. Somebody in chat tell me how to pronounce this. Glorious Resurrector. 2 black, 2 other for a 4/4 human wizard. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. That's huge. Yes. That in and of itself is already huge for a a huge amount of decks. Then,
Yeah.
at the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Glorious Resurrector onto the battlefield under your control, and they gain Decayed. Decayed, if you're not familiar, is after it attacks, you have to sacrifice it at the end of the turn, I believe, and it can't block. But who cares? All those ETBs, dude, this is just like creature with decay can't, but when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. There you go. So, I mean, this one just seems nutty.
At the beginning of your upkeep, I mean, yeah, this is like a control build around kind of thing, like protect this, kill stuff, and then get it back, or play it alongside other powerful similar effects. I think this card's amazing. I think it's just absolutely amazing.
I think it's good
one of those
EDH
kind of
tech
like
too.
Shieldred, where you need to kill it before the turn begins.
I think I really like it as EDH tech too. Any of the stuff that's dying, man. All of the ETB creatures, you know, you've got enters the battlefield, destroy an enchantment or artifact. Those are the first creatures to get sacked or die, you know, get chump blocked with. Once they've come onto the battlefield and done their thing, then you get those effects again. That in and of itself, just like gathering all these simple little effects, artifact enchantment destruction, ETB draw cards, solemn simulacrum, that you get an ETB and a death trigger off of. I'm thinking that this is pretty cool EDH tech too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's definitely good in EDH. It's a cheaper Shieldred. It's not as good as Shieldred because Shieldred has the sacrifice built into it. But
Shieldred
if you're
Light,
playing the right deck where you have kill spells like you should be playing, I mean, and your opponents obviously have kill spells, then there's going to be ways to. I mean, like the worst case scenario, right, is this card finds a Dark Steel plate on it, for example.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. After that, you need to exile it, or else this is just going to run rampant. And then you just do a Damnation, Dark Steel plate on this Damnation, and then, I mean, get ready for some GGs.
How about this for limited,
it's very
Jake?
good. It's probably the best card that we've looked at today. Which one?
I'm trying to see through. Yeah, we looked there. You had looked all this stuff. Did you see this one yet?
That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I just read it.
1/1 for 2. At the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 zombie with Decayed.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it essentially creates a 2/2 that you're just like, send it. Send it.
Yeah, you're just sending it.
Send it. Worst case scenario is it just gets chump blocked and it dies.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're building this deck, you're building this in with like, you know, Phyrexian Tower-like effects, altar-like effects, where you're able to, essentially this is creating you something to sacrifice every single turn.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but what's interesting about that is the one card that came out of War of the Spark, and it was the 1 black, 1 other enchantment, Rise of the Dreadmarn. You at the beginning of your turn, you create a token with Amass.
Oh, Rise of the Dreadmarn
not Rise of the Dreadmarn.
Dreadhorde Invasion.
Dreadhorde Invasion. That's what it was. And I know that this does some damage to you, but I would have expected this card to take off a lot more in a bigger way for the exact reason that you're talking about.
Right
at the beginning of your turn, and it's an enchantment, so it's hard to deal with.
Yeah,
right?
This is just a 1/1.
Right. I mean, I was just very surprised that, you know, this effect never took off. Maybe the life lost wasn't worth it or whatever, but if you needed a good sacrifice outlet, a way to generate a token, I couldn't think of a better card than the Dreadhorde Invasion. I mean, this card is similar. Maybe it will do things because it's a creature, but I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, it's very strange. Timbo, Army is a zombie token. 0/0 black zombie army creature token. This is how they did it in War of the Spark.
Yeah, and if you don't control one, you create one.
Yeah.
And if there already is one, then you amass, and it just builds onto the previous one that was generated.
Essentially, they
So,
wanted to have this
kinda
token
cool.
creation mechanic, but they didn't want it to be a go wide. They wanted it to be a go tall. And so
Yeah, exactly.
your army gets bigger and it's one big attacker, not a bunch of creatures going wide.
Yeah.
Y'all saw Arlen in the stream, right? Pax Hope?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We've seen Arlen before. Tolivar, y'all saw. Yeah, we're good from there. Okay, so I think from there we got to go over to Mythic Spoiler, because I know there are some ones that you and I wanted to talk about specifically that we haven't even seen yet.
That's right.
Let me hit us with a little refresh
Curse of
here.
Silence. Okay, so there's a couple things
Yeah,
that
what
I'm
is
seeing
this?
that I haven't seen.
As Curse of Silence enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Spells with the chosen name enchanted player cast cost 2 more to cast. And whenever enchanted player casts a spell with the chosen name, you can sacrifice it. And if you do, draw a card.
What is this?
One
Rare?
No, it's a
Or is
mythic.
this a mythic?
That looks like mythic to me. 1 white.
So it's an amazing play against certain commanders.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
also think about this in like, you know, go back to when the mono white deck was good. The blue white deck was also good. That was running like 3 Fury and even 5 mana Teferi. And so if you can make that 5 mana Teferi cost 7, and then once they eventually do get there, you get to draw a card and keep your hand full and try and keep pushing through with your attackers.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's not.
This card is good.
That's interesting. I wonder if this would be good in Modern. Is Teferi 3's already banned in Modern, isn't he?
Yeah. Yes. He was terrible for the format.
No, he's
Oh, no,
legal.
he is.
Legal
He's
in
legal in
Modern.
Modern.
Banned
Oh,
in
no, it was
Pioneer. Banned
Pioneer.
in yeah, yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
I wonder if that would be a decent, you know, sideboard on the draw, sideboard on the play. Well, on the play you want your creatures, you want to be attacking on the play, but on the draw, sideboard Curse of Silence in, name Teferi Time Raveler. That seems dumb, but possible.
I mean, if the biggest thorn in your side this is definitely a sideboard card.
100%.
I'm trying to analyze if it's like a sideboard card that every white deck is going to want, for example.
This is
And I
very
don't think it
interesting.
is.
They must have some combo shit coming up pretty soon, or it's about to be here, dude, because this was spoiled today.
Yeah, this needed a reprint. This is a good one to get a reprint.
And so like anti-combo tech. JK.
Jake with the $4.99 super chat. Jake and Joel both need yet another monitor desk fund.
That's right. Every dollar you donate
In the
today
future.
goes toward one poor young man's quest for a second monitor. Jake is the only
or desk.
Jake is the only YouTube streamer with more than 1,000 subscribers that only uses one monitor.
I know. It's true. It's true. And he goes, we need a studio.
Jake,
That's right.
thank you for the
Thanks,
Thank you
Jake.
for the super chat. We appreciate
shit.
that. Yeah, so Pithing Needle reprint. Either
Cool
it's
new art.
Oh dude, yeah, ridiculous looking art. It's like hook in the skin underneath the ear, aiming that sucker right into right into the spine. Ugh.
Yes. Yes.
Oy, oy, oy. Everybody, hey, if you're enjoying hanging out and just talking some MTG cards, number 1, chat with us. Let us know what you're thinking about the cards we're talking about. Number 2, hit that like button. That like button, it wakes up YouTube's algorithm, throws our video at more people. We would really appreciate it if you would just hit that like button.
Hit the like button.
Pithing Needle, Jake, do you think that this is a irrelevant to standard needed reprint, and so they timed it out for that, or do you think that this will actually have Poofy, what's up? I wonder if it'll actually have any application in standard. Obviously, it's one of the best sideboard cards ever printed.
It will have application in standard sideboards for sure.
It's such a good sideboard card. It goes in any deck. It shuts off whatever the best Planeswalker deck is. Period.
Yeah.
And you get even possible more past that. Brian, what's up? Good to see you.
What's going on? Yeah. This is a cool one.
Yeah, I was excited when I saw that.
I'm still looking for those big hits. I would love to see like a spicy reprint like Snapcaster Mage show up in this set. There's so much flashback, and I feel like it would be appropriate if we saw it. I know that that's the kind of card that is like kind of degenerate just because of how strong it is. But I think it could be in this format. I don't see anything wrong with Snapper being in standard.
We've got Graveyard Trespasser, Jake, which has Ward, which is an excellent ability that we love. They have to discard a card to target this. So that's better than, a 2 tax as far as I'm concerned.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Ward of discard a card is pretty sick. Whenever Graveyard Trespasser ETBs or attacks, you exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. So that's a 3/3 for 3. ETBs, you exile a card from a graveyard. Attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. And if you're exiling creatures when you're doing it, you're pinging them for 1 and you're gaining 1. And then it's day bound, so if a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night. And you switch it over to Graveyard Glutton. ETBs or attacks, exile up to 2 cards. And it's a 4/4.
Jeez, I'm going to call this card the Cat Catcher because it's going to be going after the Cauldron Familiars.
Dude,
it's pretty good.
I'm a real big fan of Graveyard Trespasser, Graveyard Glutton. This is a fantastic 3-mana spell for EDH.
I don't know if it's EDH for sure. 100% EDH for sure. Wondering if it's playable in standard. Definitely sideboard tech in standard.
It's a little slow, I think, but I do believe that it having the ETB will at least get it some looks because, at the very least,
it's like fine, right? Because in standard, you're getting a 3/3 for 3, which typically isn't that strong. But with this ability and a body attached to it, it really is good against graveyard strategies, because if you know how those deck works, you know what cards to pick out. And especially if flashback takes off in a big way, which I imagine it will, this is going to be a great card to deal with all the flashback and stuff. So if you go against that, you're probably just going to want this. And it's interesting sometimes to have like a creature in the sideboard, right? Normally we kind of think like, oh, the sideboard is for, instants and sorceries and certain types of like maybe enchantments or artifacts that answer certain things that we aren't exactly expecting to play against, but it could happen. This is very much just like, I like when they put an ability like this on a body. I don't mean to talk so long about the card, but I do think it's pretty good.
I ain't stopping you, man. This is the kind of analysis we want to do on these new card first reactions. Dobby092, how are you? We're good, man. We appreciate you hanging out. Brian,
hey everybody, let's get the likes up to 69 if we could. We got 125 watching. We would love if we could get the likes up to 69.
Brian, Pithing Needle's getting a reprint in Innistrad. Chris, what's up? Good to see you. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, I think that this graveyard card could be good.
This one, let's talk about this thing. Yeah.
The Celestis.
So, in a previous video, when we're talking about the problem with werewolves, I said it would be really nice if they printed an artifact that had an effect that could just change werewolves as we need it.
Turns out
this is exactly it. Here it is. It exists. I was hoping for a little bit less of a cost, but the fact that it's a mana rock is pretty sweet.
There's 2 parts about this, right? If it's night becomes day, if it's day it becomes night. That has no relevance on any werewolf ever printed up to this point. Up to this point, the day-bound, night-bound thing, unless I've missed where they're gonna errata that, which I actually think would be excellent.
I see what you're saying.
It doesn't have all of the other ones. Let's look up the werewolves that exist.
That's right.
At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, you transform it.
Yeah, never mind.
So are they changing? I mean, that is exact text. Look.
No Maro confirmed, no errata.
No errata. Okay, so freaking there you go. So the Celestis is fine for werewolves printed from now on, because daybound, nightbound, that's, I'm assuming, how they're going to do this. But we're going to have to wait another 5 years, 6 years before we get another Innistrad set after these two, probably.
And more werewolf support.
Right.
It makes me wonder if werewolves are actually going to have the potency that they need. And I mean, based on this so far, I would say no. Every red and green creature in this set should just be a werewolf.
Rosewater pushed for it, but wasn't able to push it through. Well, points to Rosewater for trying it, because that would be huge. I mean, that would make the old werewolves viable in EDH.
So essentially, let's break this down a second for people. So when werewolves showed up in Innistrad, they had an old way of transforming, and here it is right here. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform this. Now let's look at a different one. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, and if you look at another one, it's the same thing. So
and then the other side is going to say at the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells, which is, I mean, it's exact match for what the day-night ability is. It's just worded differently.
Darnell has a great point. Day-night could be used for vampires also, which it likely will be. So that's a really good point.
That is true.
But it does kind of make it to where all of these werewolves are kind of useless. It's not saying that they're not useless, but now the conditions for these ones to be relevant become a lot more restrictive, and it just kind of sucks.
But I know that there will be a lot of werewolf support for EDH printed into this, and the decks. You know, we're gonna at least get good creature types of it that are using day-night bound, and the few relevant werewolves that people were already playing also have backup like Emerwolf or stuff that can keep them from transforming. And
Matt said it as well. Yeah, true. Yeah.
And so you've got a sort of possibility of a werewolf deck. I'm still waiting to see. I mean, have we gotten like the bomb legendary yet? Some people were talking about it, but I never actually checked. Tolivar?
Well,
whenever wolf. Oh, yeah. Y'all talked about it. Whenever wolf or werewolf deals combat damage, draw a card. At the beginning, if you control 3 or more wolves or werewolves, and then transform any number of human werewolves you control. So that is, I guess, exactly what we're looking for when we look at this. Yeah, human werewolf, right? So
right.
So yeah, I mean, put that on the commander.
One creature, they were able to work it in a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. Put that on the commander. It's a red and green, so you've got ways to make this creature indestructible.
Nice
between artifacts and greens. Yep, it's easy. It hits the battlefield probably turn 2, because I mean, you getting 3 mana by turn 2 in EDH is not difficult. Okay. All right, so it's not all doom and gloom. It gets back to the point that Jake and I are trying to make, which is we said that we needed something like this. It was pretty obvious. It's not, the most home run of calls, but it definitely came true. They definitely felt the same way. And with Tovolar, they're also... God, Tovolar, that is not how you want to say it. You want to say Tolivar, but it's Tovolar. With Tovolar, they've got a way to make the other ones good.
Yeah. Yeah, this was appropriate to be on. I would have been fine with the same thing on an enchantment, but I think it's fine on this artifact. It's exactly what we were looking for. A little bit more expensive, but because it is a mana rock, we haven't really even talked about the fact that it is a mana rock, which is pretty sweet.
Or it filters. I was gonna say when you flip it, when you flip day to night or night to day, you can draw a card first. Which is loot. Dude, I love drawing before you have to discard. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I do. I do as well. So yeah, this is one of the cards that I'm the most excited about that I've seen. I think it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool card.
Seems like a big artifact. I mean, legendary. We'll probably get a cool treatment of it as well.
Yeah, probably so. While while we're talking about treatments, I will say this. From the video that we watched just a couple days ago, or what was that, yesterday? Whenever that stream was, what we learned is that the big thing that is going to be separating set boosters from collector boosters is if you want to be able to pull rares and mythics in extended art treatments. So don't worry so much about the collector boosters of this set. It's been confirmed that the real draw there is being able to get extended art cards of certain variants. Clearly they're going to have lots of foils and tons of stuff like that, but expect the race to the bottom on the bulk of this stuff to be very real with this set. And don't FOMO out here. It's pretty cool though. There's a lot of fun stuff that I'm excited about in the set.
Yeah, I want to talk about one thing. You swapped over to Booster Fun, which is a really great thing to talk about because we have got this in set boosters, Jake. I want to find the exact quote here.
Yeah, they are commander exclusive cards that will appear in set boosters only, that will not appear in the commander product.
This is important to talk about because this is pretty huge. I know that the cards aren't that great, and we'll look at them. I think they have them down here somewhere. But this being you have to buy a specific booster to get a unique card. That's tough, man. That is like, where does that keep going to? That feels like a slipperier slope than we are acknowledging, or should it not? To me, I mean, okay, so let's say if these were in collector boosters, we're gonna have these mechanically unique commander cards in collector boosters only, and then people are like, oh well, I gotta pay. I mean, what's a collector booster? $20?
Collector booster on the low end is $20 for one that's like not that desirable, and then they've been as high as like $50 for Modern Horizons 2. But a general rule of thumb is to expect a collector booster to be between like $30 to $35.
This is screaming
like 20 to 35, 25 to 35.
This is just weird to me because it's like Wizards are saying, no, we want you to buy set boosters. Hey, you people that are buying draft boosters, those only exist to play limited. We want you to buy set boosters. If you're just buying boosters to open, buy these. Don't buy draft boosters
anymore. They even
anymore.
made the set booster a little bit more appealing than the collector booster in this case, in a way.
Right.
So
you'll get the extended arts on it, obviously, in the collector booster version, but I mean, yeah, I just thought it was interesting to note because it is the first of its kind, and you know, every time they start putting mechanically unique stuff in not the base level draft boosters of anything, people get bent out of shape.
Yes, like Walking Dead comes to mind. The 7 costs, take an extra turn. What was that card? It was in a core set.
Oh yeah.
Why can't I remember this? Instant speed, take an extra turn. Come on, chat, help me out here. But it was a buy a box promo.
Nexus of Fate.
Yeah, Nexus of Fate. That's what it was. Yeah, and Nexus of Fate was one of these cards that was hugely impactful.
Thank you,
and
Jason.
the decks that needed it wanted 4 of them.
Right.
And so
it was a 4 of. It was a 4
yeah,
of
man.
that they printed as a buy a box promo, and it never appeared anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, this was an oof.
To this
What
day,
did Jason
look at this.
say next?
Banned in
yeah.
Pioneer, banned in Historic. Obviously, this is only Arena, but banned in Pioneer, and it's still a $22 card because it's instant speed.
Yeah.
Take an extra turn.
Yeah, it's good. It's strong. They did unique cards and theme packs, which set boosters replace. That's true.
This card seems to me like it's going to be one of these, 2 or 3 in a deck standard cards. If it's neither day or night when it comes into the battlefield, it becomes day. And whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, look at the top 4 creature card, mana 3 or less into your hand. And for these types of decks, that effect repeatable is very often huge.
That ward one is really good.
It's that little tax, man. We've talked about this in EDH videos before, but that ward throws everything off just enough to give you an edge. So I couldn't agree more. Ward 1 is great.
Yeah. Ward 1 is really good here. And the velocity of this is very good as well.
So mostly I'm seeing chat sort of disagree with me. Poofy's saying it's not new. They did unique cards in the theme packs with set boosters replaced. Yeah. Big E says, yep, people shouldn't be buying draft boosters unless they're playing limited anyway. It would be for sealed too, not just draft, Big E, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, draft boosters are draft boosters for a reason. You need them in order to create the decks. You need them to be that card count. So
Yeah.
for anybody who's sitting in chat who might not be putting it together, like, why not get rid of draft boosters completely? Well, it's because the number of cards in those is different than in set boosters, and that is for constructed or for specifically limited play.
Yeah, draft
and limited.
Yeah, draft and sealed's never going to go away. That's always a core part of MTG. I think maybe, it is the old man yells at cloud in me, Jake, where I'm just like, well, draft booster. In my day, draft boosters was all we had. We opened them and we loved it.
Sure. In my day as well.
We rare drafted.
Now it does kind of, in a way, feel like Pokemon because you get to the end of a pack and you're opening sometimes like 3 rares, sometimes like 4 rares, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the point. They want you to buy more of them.
Pokemon, most of them are just jank. Like, you can open Pokemon packs and you're searching for like 1 or 2 cards that are very expensive, that are probably going to be more expensive than whatever the top card is in a Magic set. But then they have no spread at the bottom. There's like nothing else that you can pull that's of value.
Yeah, right.
And so it's
Coach, I like that point. I think Mattis Joey said earlier that he's annoyed by having to flip cards over in sleeves. Jake's the same way. Jake's not a huge fan of the flip mechanic.
I hate that.
I don't think I've ever
really
even played it in paper because I didn't play during the time that the first Innistrad came out. And so I've never actually played flip cards in paper, which is interesting now that I'm thinking about it. But Coach said Midnight Hunt seems like an arena design set. And that's what I was going to say to Mattis when I saw that was, yes, absolutely. This is, I'm telling you, look at Historic Horizons. They 2 years ago said, well, if all the money's going into this, let's design some stuff that plays better there and we can get away with more. They only take it as far as Historic Horizons when they're printing a literally only arena set, but they're able to push it because Gavany Dawnguard, or not Gavany Dawnguard, but cards that are flipping in this set are going to be much more, I would say much more, the set will be much more widely played because you can go play it on arena.
Yeah, I would agree. I know that Innistrad is going to get people in the door. It's just a matter of, is the set going to be good? You know, whenever we come back, the problem is there's just so many sets. Like, I haven't even really digested the Dungeons and Dragons set, and we have the new Innistrad set that's about to come out. And that's like, even while there are still a bunch of Modern Horizons 2 cards that are on my radar that I'm targeting. You know, one of them that we talked about tonight, Resurgent Belief, is one of these cards that I think has a lot of potential moving forward in EDH and certain formats. There's just so many different sets. So it's really hard for me to wonder how much this is going to shake things up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Dungeons and Dragons set was... Corey, what's up? Good to see you. I played the D&D set because I played it on Arena. You know, I've been traveling a lot over the last couple months. I can play it on my phone, draft the deck on my computer because I don't know the cards yet. And so I have to be able to read them. But then once I've got it drafted, I can play it on my phone, you know? And so I used a bunch of the like player draft tokens that I'd earned and kept and, you know, purchased whatever that I had stored up and used it on that set to play it a lot. It was fun. I had a good time with it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not
the D&D set.
Yeah, the D&D set. But yeah, 100%, dude. I'm still like trying to target fetch lands. I'm still looking at like Mystical Archive cards that I haven't gotten yet that people aren't thinking about anymore. So is it, time to target some of those cards?
Right.
It's definitely overwhelming.
Yeah, Strixhaven had a ton of cards that I wanted to acquire that were all just very expensive, and so I got a couple of them, but a lot of them slipped through my fingers. There's probably some moments where I could have picked some up and just didn't. That just is, at this point, there is so much product that I'm just like, whatever. I'm gonna pick up what I can. I'm gonna take in what I can.
Yep.
I'm not gonna let the FOMO
and
control.
We make a channel about this, ladies and gentlemen. We make a channel about this. Right?
Right.
I actually, Jake, I think that's part of it. We always have to sort of stay on the front edge at all times, and so I think that I think that leads to a lot of the overwhelming nature of it. Anyway, let's look at Doll Stitcher.
Yeah,
Jake, this is a mythic. Have you seen this mythic yet?
Okay. No, I haven't. What do we have?
A blue and 2 for a human wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, so since Doll Stitcher's been on the battlefield, you've cast 3 or more instant spells, you may transform Doll, and they've all survived, you may transform Doll Stitcher. And then you've got Toy Factory on the other side, and it says artifact, creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 3/3. And the beginning of your upkeep, you may transform Toy Factory so that your Doll Stitcher can start making some more. So basically, it takes all the 2/2 decayed zombies that Doll Stitcher puts together and then makes them straight up 3/3s.
Oh, that don't. Okay, because I want to be clear again what Decayed is.
So Decayed is, let me see if I can just search it up here already. I bet it does. Dun, da, da, da. Here we go. It can't block, and when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat.
Got it. So they need to sit still for a minute while you transform them, turn them into 3/3s, and then they're ready to go after that.
Right. I'm thinking, you're playing this with cantrips, with 1 mana. I think this is best when you've got a bunch of opt style things that you can do at their EOT, make 3 or removal spells, because this would go well in a black deck. You can also create decayed zombies and other good black cards. It's seeming to me like the possibility exists for a good like blue black decayed zombie deck with a few Doll Stitchers in it. You're really benefited by the fact that Doll Stitcher's not a legendary.
You know what card comes to mind that I like it with is Saheeli, dude. Saheeli that makes the servos whenever you cast an instant or sorcery.
Oh yeah.
So
Randy, I completely agree, dude. I completely agree. Not this one.
No, not this one.
This one.
Yeah.
Randy,
so this one,
as I was saying,
you cast a non-creature, create a 1/1 servo, and then. So you get Doll Stitcher and this for some redundancy, and then whenever Doll Stitcher transforms, it's turning all of those into 3/3s.
Jake, dude, also look at this. Target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target. Oh, this one doesn't make any more, so it wouldn't make any sense. You don't really have to copy toy artifact. Yeah, Randy, I was saying it's nice for the standard deck that Doll Stitcher's not legendary, but it would have been a cool commander as well. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a cool card.
But yeah, Jake, it's for a second I thought there was going to be even more synergy with this by having one of your servos become a copy of Toy Factory. Is it until end of turn?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's until end of turn. Yeah, I mean, if you can make a servo a permanent copy of Toy Factory and then flip Doll Stitcher back over, start making 2/2s every time you cast it, making 1/1s every time you cast it.
That would be weird.
You've got a Toy Factory on the battlefield that's making, so every time you're casting a thing, you're making a 1/1 that's a 3/3 and a 2/2 that's a 3/3. It's very strange.
I do think that there's some good synergy here. I'm still interested though how much I think this card will be good, but that said, you play it and then like immediately opt or whatever metamorphose, like any kind of thing like that, and just immediately start going wide. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Zendikar didn't rotate, right? is Zendikar Rising still in standard? Do we even know?
Yeah. What is going to rotate is going to be Throne, Core, Ikoria, and something.
Theros.
Oh, Theros. Yeah.
Okay, so Zendikar's the first set of the new standard. Okay. So yeah, you can do Glasspool Mimic. All right, we're making a janky deck here. We're gonna go Glasspool Mimic. We're gonna cast it copying our Doll Stitcher, and then with our actual Doll Stitcher, we're gonna flip it over into Toy Factory, and then every time we cast Opt or equivalent, we make a 3/3. Boom.
You may transform it. Okay, so at the beginning of your upkeep, you may transform Toy Factory. So it has to be when it transforms, right? That's when it happens.
Yeah. If you control at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, you can transform it.
And the transformation is what does the
turns them all into
makes them
3/3s. Yeah, this thing
Okay.
here. So your Glasspool Mimic stays a copy of Doll Stitcher and still retains the ability every time you cast an instant or sorcery, make a 2/2. And then because now your original Doll Stitcher is transformed into Toy Factory, they're all 3/3s. It's janky, but it's blue.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I like it with you could have a pretty powerful turn using some of the Phyrexian mana effects that came out of well, obviously Phyrexia, but just like mutagenic growth, surgical extraction, spells like those, because then you can pile those on to create more 2/2s. I don't know. There might be something there.
Brutal Cathar. A white and 2 for a 2/2. When it ETBs or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. Bro, this is a removal spell on a creature.
Yeah.
This is going to be good in an aggro deck. Remove the blocker.
Yeah.
So,
Enters the battlefield
question.
or transforms.
Question is, does the creature leave the battlefield when it flips? Or is it still the same thing?
It looks like it can do 2. Brian, what's up?
No, well, when it transforms into Brutal Cathar, so you got to go ETBs, you got to transform it, and then you got to transform it back, and you can get a second creature. Brian, what's up?
Yeah, it's really good.
Dylan, no, it doesn't lock down a commander. As soon as the commander gets exiled, you have the option, regardless of what exiled it, you have the option of putting it back into the command zone. So it would be essentially Doomblade.
When this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. So it enters as Brutal Cathar.
Yeah, of course, Dylan.
It exiles something.
Correct.
Then, when it turns into Moonrage Brute, it just has first strike and ward, pay 3 life.
So they can't ace it without losing 3 life on that side, which is kind of cool.
That's pretty sweet. And then once you transform it back from Moonrage Brute to Brutal Cathar, now you're exiling another creature with the same card, and you've effectively done a 2-for-1.
Right. They just get it back when they remove Brutal.
Right.
But this card
strong.
this card seems standard playable as all hell.
Yeah, and the cards that immediately come to mind, if you're going to be playing this, if this is going to be like your bread and butter strategy to make sure that you're winning with this card and making sure that they're not removing it, is run like God's Willing and all of these kind of like 1-cost spells that you see every set. It gets reprinted a little bit of a different way every time. But make sure you protect this, and you can easily do that, and you're going to get a lot out of it. I mean, it's a very strong card.
Oh, yeah. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
How are you doing on time?
I need to leave in about 10 minutes.
Okay. I feel like we're getting here to the end of it, of what we've seen so far anyway. I just wanted to talk about today what cards we had seen so far from this first day of big spoiler stuff, and then also talk about the fact that we've got these unique commander cards in the set boosters.
That's pretty crazy.
Let's look and see, where are they?
Pretty crazy.
Maybe it's on Scryfall. Innistrad ongoing previews. Oh,
There's
wow.
a cool Brutal Cathar.
Dude, I was just about to say, look at the art on this.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then
It's
the
an
other side,
interesting aesthetic.
that's a cool card. I like the card. I like the art.
Yeah.
I like the card. I like the art. I wanted to see, where are those? I don't see the cards that are coming just in the set boosters.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Maybe
There's a great video that is on Good Morning Magic that was released the day of this last stream.
This one here.
Yeah, that shows pretty much a breakdown of how all of this works. It's not going to show you exactly what cards, every single card that you want to see, but it's going to tell you what is in what concisely in this short video. So
I want to see
that video would be my number one before you buy. Make sure you watch that so you know exactly why you're buying whatever product.
Right. Yeah, Jake, did you see this one? Did we talk about Enduring Angel? This one's crazy, man. This one's weird.
Yeah. I talked about this one. It's a pretty cool card as well.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting.
Hexproof is a thing. Which really comes back to, this looks like a very creature-centric set. So, hard removal. It's always your friend.
Well, that's why we got that great removal in the D&D, that one black, one other, whatever it was, destroy anything that's not a demon or something.
Right.
Pretty much answering all the creatures from this set. I can't find where they are, but
one card that you should have on your radar that I think is kind of undervalued right now is Prismari Command, and it's because it reminds me so much of Kolaghan's Command. And Kolaghan's Command is easily, like, in my opinion, the best command. And so Prismari being like around like that $5 or $6 mark, I think that's going to end up being a card that's going to be pretty potent in the next in this new standard meta, dealing 2 damage to any target, and then also giving you the ability to like draw 2, then discard 2, create a treasure token, or destroy target artifact. The versatility on the card is just, I don't know, it's just fantastic. So I would keep Prismari Command on your radar. It seems very relevant.
Yep, I've gotten hit by Prismari Command before where their creature had first strike, but my creature was higher toughness. But once blockers are declared, they zap it for 2, and then first strike goes through, and then their first striker survives. They draw 2, discard 2, or most often I've seen 2 damage and create a treasure token as the usage out of this.
Yeah, and it's funny because the treasure token at the beginning was the thing that I was the least excited about, and I do remember mentioning it's probably going to end up being one of the most used modes.
Yep.
And I'm not surprised.
Well, honestly, the second most, I would say, combination I see is destroy target artifact, create a treasure token. You know, it's always like, I want to do the thing I want to do. It's either a shock or an artifact and ramp. Right. And then if I get
a ramp in these colors that don't ramp.
Yeah, it's so good. If I get to the point where I've got 2 or 3 cards in my hand and no answers to what's happening on the board, I'm going to draw 2, discard 2, create a treasure token.
Yep. 100%.
I found these cards, 100%. Jake. Let's take a peek at these before you go. Avacyn's Memorial. All right, everybody. I'm gonna need need some takes on these.
This is one of the exclusive cards.
Yep. Yeah, I've got the 5 of them right here behind Avacyn's Memorial here. Oh yeah, thanks, Soth. I appreciate it. Sorry, I found them right as you were telling me that. Avacyn's Memorial is an 8-cost legendary artifact with indestructible that gives other legendary permanents you control indestructible.
It's honestly shit. It's not very good. I don't think it's very good.
What's the other one called?
It's very, very expensive.
I don't understand how we can go. What
are you thinking of? Achroma's Memorial?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Achroma's Memorial is good. That's
7
the big difference.
generic.
Right.
Flying, First Strike, Vigi, Trample, Haste, Pro Black, Pro Red.
Yeah, so no indestructible on it, but that's where the 3 white comes from, is the indestructible. I think it's like... I think this card is a trap, and this would easily be one of my cuts. It's just so damn expensive for 8 mana. It's like, cool, it is indestructible itself, and it's going to make your commander indestructible.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think it's good. A white and 4 for Visions of Glory sorcery. Create a 1/1 human creature token for each creature you control. Flashback of 10, and it costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. So,
that's pretty good.
It's solid. It feels very win more to me. I mean, you want at least 5 creatures on the battlefield to get a good return for this. And so you've already got 5 on the battlefield. We're going to pay. I mean, it is 1 spell doubling what you've got. Gone wide with
is the only reason I would ever consider it.
Right.
But it does need to go into like a go wide.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, we'll go back and we'll look at that. I saw Timbo asking about that striping on the lands. We'll look at that real quick before we end up here. Exchange control of 2 target creatures you don't control. This card seems very playable. A lot of politics decks, a lot of just control decks. I mean, dude, think about this card in a 2-headed giant. That is where I mean, 2-headed giant commander is not really an official thing, but Jake and I love playing 2-headed giant. Period.
Exchange control of 2 target creatures you don't control. It's a very political move.
Yeah. This one is the most interesting of the 3 that we've seen so far. And then, of course, the cool flashback. I like this flashback where it reduces by the cost of your commander.
Right. So, like, for example, in Urza, this is going to cost 6.
6 to flashback. Correct.
So that seems reasonable, right? For a
100%.
flashback cost?
100%.
Yeah, this is pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet.
Some of the best, it'll cost, 6. Right, because in a 6-cost commander, it would cost 4.
Right.
Visions of Dread.
So kind of cool.
Target opponent puts a creature card of their choice from their graveyard onto the battlefield under your control.
This is probably the best one that I've seen, just because you can target a specific thing down.
Right.
And then, or target the person with one thing in the yard, something like that. That's good. This is good.
Same with the flashback there. Curse of Obsession is a curse or a curse. At the beginning of enchanted player's draw step, that player draws 2 additional cards. At the beginning of the enchanted player's end step, that player discards their hand. So you get 3 every turn, but you got to use them all every turn. At 5 mana, I think this is fair. That's annoying to deal with, but also it's not... I feel like it's not completely putting you out of the game. I
mean, unless
you got to be hellbent.
Well, this is really brutal with like Narset Parter Veils, right?
Yep. And against the control deck, this is a pretty backbreaking play.
Yeah, this is like you play this in like red blue, play it alongside Narset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of card that people will want for their 2 color decks that have red in them. Little tech piece against the instant speed deck. Visions of Ruin. Each opponent sacks an artifact. You create a treasure token for each artifact sacrificed this way. So each opponent sacks an artifact. You create 3 treasure tokens for 4 mana. It's not terrible.
Actually, it's very good. This is very good.
You're
Unless
probably
they're playing like artifacts don't matter to them. They're just making a bunch of tokens, and then it gets worse. But you're still getting the treasure from it for 4.
Yeah, I would say median. You're gonna get 4 mana sorcery here that gets 2 artifacts, and you create 2 treasure tokens because not everybody's always gonna have an artifact necessarily. So shooting on
this
average,
card could eat 3 soul rings. You know,
oh yeah,
like it's pretty good.
oh yeah, yeah. This one seems interesting. And then the last one,
obviously, is good as well.
yeah, exactly. That's, I mean, it does keep the artifacts off the battlefield once you're doing that. You know, you're running a 6-cost commander, 4 mana to do it again. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Visions of Dominance. You put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then double the number of +1/+1 counters on it.
I hate that ability at sorcery speed.
Dude, that's exactly what I was gonna say. This card is a dope instant and a dumb sorcery.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad at sorcery speed. I think this is probably the worst one of the cycle. It's the one I'm least interested in.
It's interesting. This is a weird set of cards. We got a visions of each color, and then we got Avacyn's Memorial, which, I mean, seems to exist to make people pissed off about the mana cost.
Right.
And then you've got Curse of Obsession, which is actually a pretty decent piece of red tech, depending on your deck or the meta.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Interesting.
It's interesting.
I saw somebody, Jake covered this in the live reveal stream, but I saw somebody ask about it, so we'll play it here, and I'll just sort of put it on repeat. These are the foil lands. And the foiling on the alternate stuff. There we go. That's coming in the new set. Those lands, man.
Yeah, I like the black and white art. I would be more excited about this if every set didn't have its own special, you know.
I know.
But, I mean, it's still kind of cool.
When everything's
cool.
special, nothing is. But,
right.
I mean, I will say, Jake, I look at you and I, we see a lot of these full art lands now from every angle. Every set's got their own version. You know, Theros had the Pokemon Energy lands. Those foils were great, but the cards themselves didn't really speak to me. And these, I think, look awesome. This is the first ones in a while where I personally am like, I want to get, like, my entire mono black EDH deck is going to be foil those swamps 100%.
Yeah, and hopefully they're not an arm and a leg, because you're not going to want to have to pay like $20 for those. I don't think that they are going to be. It depends on how often these pop up. But yeah, I mean, the Gisa here, or however you want to say it, Gesa or whatever, that just looks like it's one of the constellation cards out of Theros. I mean, that doesn't look incredibly different from something that I've seen before. I mean, the black and white is a cool look. I think it's neat, but
yeah.
I mean, the purple does kind of pop on there a little bit, but yeah, it really is to each their own, you know. But the lands are very attractive because it's like a black, white, blue, black, white, red, black, white, purple, black, white, gold, you know, for each color. And so if you do like that aesthetic, it is very like minimalistic, the art is beautiful. I like them as well. Just don't FOMO out on those.
Oh no. No. These are just the first ones I've really liked in a while. And I say, I thought
they're pretty
Tembo
cool.
said, yeah, it's subjective. Yeah, you're exactly right. Everyone has got their own.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, if you let's look at islands. We're going to sort this and go to view all prints, release date. Okay, so let's look at all the different types of islands that we can have right now. I'm just going to put this on a slow scroll here, right at the end. We got the full art, the full text Artless from that secret layer. I'd actually forgotten about that. Some of the secret layers have, that was the crushing brutality, right? Of basic lands.
Yeah, I believe.
Was that secret layer? And then you get back to the, full
There's
arts.
Bob Ross. Ross,
yeah.
before you miss it. There
Yep.
it goes. I don't know what these are with the signatures and the
These must have been some sort of art card. Oh. Zendikar Rising art series. Oh, so you could even get the art series cards?
I don't remember that.
I don't think these would be tournament legal because there's no word to define them as what they are in any way.
There's the Hour of Devastation ones that are kind of cool with the bolus horns in the background. Godzilla ones. There's the Double Masters ones. The Battle for Zendikar ones. But you can see...
We've come so far, man.
Yeah, we have. We've come so far from the regular border.
I mean,
now we have...
I remember those original like full art ones being so desirable and so just, that's what everybody wanted.
In original Zendikar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody wanted those.
Here's these.
And now you can just see... Oh yeah, like go up a little bit. There's the ones that these kind of remind me of. Not the Godzilla one, but it's like 3 rows down. These new ones kind of remind me of the ones that came out of this unset. You could see it all the way there on the right.
Yeah.
And then there's also a different version there, 2 over to the left. I guess was probably on Arena or something.
Yeah.
But
unsanctioned.
Yeah. And these ones, I mean, I think that these are kind of cool too. But yeah, there's just so many different islands. So if you're sitting there, you're like, why isn't Jake hyped for the new basics? It's just because I see so many new basics all the time.
Yeah.
In these new, especially with new sets and stuff. Because here was Battle for Zendikar, you could see up there. That was just like, that was us coming back to it a little bit. The full art, 2 more rows up, 2 more up. There it is to the left.
Yeah.
And that was like a return to the full arts. That this was a big selling point of Battle for Zendikar. Whereas in OG Zendikar, that was the first time we saw the full arts. So when we saw these, we were like, oh man, that's awesome. You know, like, wow, they're bringing back the full art lands.
Oh, these are the arena ones. Yeah, these are all cooked in with the arenas.
Yeah. But you can even see, like, I mean, it's just lots of full arts at this point.
I remember by Amon Ket, we were pulling the full art lands of Amon Ket, and we were just like, they're kind of cool. We weren't like jacked over them. And this is the same. This is what you were talking about. Now we're back to these where you could get the bucket land and, the sinkhole island. These were ones that people were very interested in. But then if you scroll through, like that's online. So we're past the arena age now, going backwards in time. So you can see, look at that. What is this one? Therese Nielsen J14. Must have been a promo at some convention. Maybe we got to go all the way back here, man.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I'm going to have to skedaddle for now. I've only got a couple minutes, Joel.
No worries, y'all. We're going to call it for now. We are going to continue to cover the set. Thank everybody for hanging out today. Hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed it on your way out. Otherwise, new video Sunday. We will catch y'all later. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Yes, have a nice weekend. We will talk to you soon.